on the cash flow, the cash flow system, both on Telegram and WhatsApp. I think it's expedient you ask the fellow who invited to let you get access. Very, very important. And so it's going to help you to have access to some vital information and being able to act on it. I hope someone will chat me today and like he had been, someone was telling me that he has been on Plan B Express community for the past 3 years and he has not participated in anything. Just a moment, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, where you're connected from. Here is Felix, and we explore the global financial market, been in stock, crypto, and then the forex markets, as it were. And you may want to ask, why do we explore all of those aspects of the market? Why not just crypto? Why not just forex? No, we explore everything, right? So because that's part of diversification. But there are things we want people to know. If you're joining us tonight, I'm going to take a brief stuff around our coverage in Plan B Express. First of all, we explore investment, and then we have different investment segments we want people to leverage on. That investment segment, the first thing of its kind, has to do with the capital market. And the capital market, we have the local and international, market, who has to do with the stock market. Now, in this segment, we equally have, which has cut across to crypto right now, we equally have what is called ETF. And now, most of us wouldn't understand what ETF actually represent because we probably do not explore the investment aspect of the market. Now, and then, so investment has different segments. We have 2, 4, 3, 1 to 3 investment segments. We have long term, mid term, and the short term. I like us to know that the short term is said to be more risky than the long term. And some of the aspects of the short term, though, can equally be seen for a long term, is the stock market. It's so lovely. Somebody was chatting with me yesterday or so, or 3 days ago, and was telling me about his dividend that was paid to him in a particular stock we just talked about. And I never knew the fellow bought the stock, which was Okomo Oil. It's a local stock. And he was paid some dividend. That was massive. Now, what I'm saying all of this is that, because I've listened to a good number of people, they felt that, the digital space is a scam. There are no ways of making, long-term legitimate, income. Now, they thought it's about rise and fall. It's about planning. Now, that's why I have to start from here, which has to do with like ETF, right? And we have different stock, platform. And then we have the international kind of ETF. Now, S&P 500 was one of the major ETF a lot of people diversify into before. And then we're having more into tech now, right? We have a lot into tech. Probably I will not be able to explore that. But one of the advantage of investing in equity markets and all of that is that it gives you more confidence. And a lovely stock, what I told us, had entered about $5 trillion cap. The first stock to enter a high level of price in capitalizations for the first time, which was Inveda. I actually start from this tonight so that we can understand some perspective and be able to walk in all of these things I'm mentioning. Now, one of the most kind of reliable or but long term with low return, it's more of bonds, government bonds, and all of that. Now, I mentioned this stock for a very long time, but not everyone actually paid attention. Now, my target was that going to go to 240, went to 211 or $213, and eventually returned back. From this analysis, like the sentiment around is still a very good buy. Now, please, I'm not asking you to buy because you probably want to look at it. How much do I have to buy Invida right now, which is about $190 per share? So, but this is a stock that we're making a lot of money on it, and this is an international stock. Now, so what we check is to check stocks that have a very still considerably lower and have more futuristic advantage. Now, where companies are looking on how to actually invest more into the future of some of them and all of that, especially when it has to do with tech and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go too much about that, but we're looking at what could happen. Of course, you should know that even when some stock will be nosediving, we're entering into December. I've told us a year wrapping up. Now, anything month of November, December, January, actually not too kind of because people have taken some profits in the month of October and then November partially too. And then, of course, December, you expect some nosediving because people will be spending. Now, logically speaking, if you're a smart investor, you want to monitor some of those stocks you have, research about to work on them as much as possible, right? So the same way we're looking at the cryptocurrency and as the new major product that you can leverage on right now. Now, I'm not talking about buying to coins right now, for instance, but to tell you that this is the spread where you are going to look at as a digital stock. Why? The invention, the aspect of buying into, all right, the aspect of buying into different stocks, ETF to in crypto. We have the XRP recently pushing into whatever, all right? Now, but you can look at crypto right now. So let's quickly go. I'm just showing you how we invest in stock. We have the local and international stock. Stock is more, it's more risky than other financial instrument in the equity market. Now, it tends to be more volatile, and because you can have some stock you buy today, and then it can come down. Let me use a practical example. I bought into NEO, even though I made a lot of money on it in 2019, but afterward, 2022, 2023 or so, and then it was dived crazily. And then we bought some at 2023, if I'm not mistaken, at about $12 per share and at about $10 per shares in anticipation that we speculate to sell at 25 or 26 or $23. But unfortunately, the trade war between China and America had to impact the stock negatively. So we're making an attempt over time, but we still nosedive eventually. So, okay, now if we look at Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, it's actually not juicy, right? You can see a lot of sell, strong sell, all of this. Yeah, we're not surprised because I was telling some of us last week, and I draw a chart on our group, that's even of the free group and the paid group, of how Bitcoin have chances of hitting down to $74,000. Okay, so let me quickly go to the chart. There's so many macro information I will have given to us, but there is no time, right? So let's look at Bitcoin quickly on my chart before we look at the DXY and as it relates to different currencies. And then we look at gold and what should be looking at. And at least gold performed very well last week. Those of us who trade foreign currencies, foreign exchange, that's forex trading. And you saw that gold did massively well last week. Good number of people actually felt that was going to continue wrapping up, just like business as usual, but unfortunately never did. And now what I want to announce to some of us is that when you are trading, because we said Plan B Express, we explore 3 segments, right? First has to do with investing, and second has to do with active trading. And we have third has to do with affiliate rebate system. Now, so quickly let's look at Bitcoin. If you look at Bitcoin, my chart, I've been bearish like when we got here. So there were pattern we use in identifying some kind of reversal that's going to be massive. All right. So I got my daily range since that's when we, fake out of this point, and then I had a daily range right down here, and that's what we're looking at. So invariably, as long as we break below this point, then we can successfully hitting down to $74,000 for Bitcoin, and by chance to $71,000. Now it looks impossible, but gradually it's happening, and then people never knew, because I remember when I was telling people about this daily FDG, and it's a course, and then we've been selling down. But now, how do we go about? So that means we have to allow the market to open today, all right, close today, and open tomorrow for us to know if we're going to have a bounce here or we break below and then continue to sell. Now, if you are part of even the free group, we're going to be updating at some interval, probably tomorrow, and then know how we're going to go. If we're going to have a bounce from here, but I just too much don't sure if we're going to have a bounce from there, because the basic low is actually here. And so coming down to sweep this one here is going to make sense, and it will create a different dimension of the market. So why I'm sharing all of this with us is for us to be able to maximize opportunity in the digital space. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. Now, most time we don't pay attention to look at how to maximize it. So Bitcoin, for me, we're still going to continue selling. So if you are trading futures, you are trading in a forex and all of that, so you probably will prepare to see more selling to continue as we have started. So there is no too much struggle around Bitcoin. And so I have told us that a Bitcoin is going to have that, then we're still going to go back to that $100 of Solana, right? Remember what I said? Our expectation on Solana at that point was that we're supposed to hit up to 200, 200 and what? $275, right? Something like that. But unfortunately, we couldn't. And so if this is going to happen and Bitcoin continue, then that means we can hit down to $88 for Solana. All right, you heard me right? It's possible. Then if not, then we can also probably rally back to where we started this journey that ended up here. Many of you have been following us. Remember when I was talking about Solana to come to $94, and we actually did, and it makes a lot of sense, and this return has happened. Fortunately, where we target to hit up about 2, we couldn't have that. So if I were you, I would be patient enough to see what play out at the close of today's candle, all right, and open, which is going to be in the next how many hours? The next 4 hours plus, we're going to be closing today's candle. And then we can now take a dimension, all right? So, but for Solana, if we can find the support here, that's going to make a lot of sense. That means tentatively, you're looking at $128, $129 to bounce for Solana. But without that, Bitcoin crashed more, then you're going to pick the pieces of Solana at about $90 to $88 before you can find a buy, okay? If eventually we are not now back to the total bear market, as it were, okay? Now, there are quite a number of coins. Those of you on the Telegram, drop a signal in the noon time, and then that has played out. I think it did, and I use even the kind of conservative leverage, which about 5x, and I think was able to finalize the trade at about 70% profit. Okay. So now many person would tell me, oh, I don't trade I can't buy Bitcoin again. I say no, it's because you don't wait for the appropriate time of buying, and of course, you don't wait for appropriate time of selling. But if I can tell you, They're very, very simple thing to operate on because you don't need to stay with them. You just set the price and go away. Okay. So that means we're looking at Solana, perhaps to return back to 128, 129. If we're able to break it, so I'll be waiting for it for a buy at $88 to $90 per share, per coin, right, for Solana. And then there's other coins. Now, if you are a private mentorship, we really enjoy this token. It did massively well for us. And then I thought we thought it was over here. And I was surprised to see another bounce to equalize this again. And so, does it happen all the time? No, this type of thing doesn't happen all the time. And sometimes when it's being posted, if it's posted as a free platform, most persons are actually not interested to that extent. So we get carried away by, since it's free, and then we don't take it serious. So 1,000+% for this Z token. Okay. All right. So now let's quickly go to DXY as fast as possible. So I've told you that DXY is an upside down of Euro USD, and just for you to have an idea of where the markets will be going to. Okay. Now, so if that is the case, very simple. Beg your pardon. So DXY, we've been having tussle on DXY. You can see what I told us about DXY journey for returning, but unfortunately, we got to stop here. Now, this is what we call rejection block on DXY, on the continuation for the move. And then we got rejected, of course, even stripped. So now, the challenge now for DXY, we expected some bands at some area of interest of an origin kind of a thing, but we couldn't have that bands. So if we're going to drag down back to this point, that's going to be very horrible for DXY. And that's going to give an edge, to Euro USD. Okay, those of us who trade currencies, I don't like trading currencies. Most time I trade commodity gold because sometimes commodity currencies are better traded on swing level. And that's one of the biggest advantage if those of you who have subscribed to Becknet software and you are not using it to look at your swing strategy on currencies, that's a big error. That's the truth because it's man a lot of journey for you. So if we're going to have this DXY continue moving down, then that's a very simple, direct equation for Euro USD. I remember one of the first instrument I recommend for beginners for trading is actually Euro USD, even before GBP USD. Now, many of us bought Euro USD from here last week, and like myself, I still have my position running. And that's why I say I rather have to swing all the currencies than try to scalp them. So we had a position from here. You can see this point upon it last week. And I know some of our people must have closed it. And then I think we have position on Euro USD and then USD card. And I have not closed. So I've been on able to know. And this two drag USD card. And then we will have try to have a bounce here, which was actually playing out, maybe eventually could play, because you can see that it was a very, very strong uptrend for the market. And then we have Okay, please, guys, can you hear me? Please, if you can hear me, just type 111 on the chat box quickly. If you can hear me, just kindly type 111 on the chat box very quickly, everybody. If you can hear me, type 111 on the chat box. You hear me? Type 111 on the chat box. If you know you can hear me, please type 111 on the chat box very quickly, everybody. You can hear me, please make use of the chat box. All right, thank you very much. Marvelous. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so now talking about different currencies. So after we sold down last week, I tried to find some entry here, which was obvious that's an uptrend. And now, so but try to swing it at a very smaller, low time frame can actually be bothersome. And that was why I actually find a buy here last week and waiting what's going to happen. Now, this could move sluggishly because it's an uptrend, but if the USD index continue to get heated badly, then this is going to go sideways and eventually we travel up. Okay, I just want to highlight all of those points. Now, if you're new now, Mr. Knight, let me quickly just tell you something. You probably will be seeing those things we're saying. Now, the first thing that matters to you is to know how to open your broker if you're trading forex, synthetics, and all the like, even the stock market, right? So then if you trade crypto, you want to look at opening some exchanges. Like I said, somebody was chatting with me for 3 good years. For 3 good years, I've been on Plan B Express forum, and he hasn't invested in anything. Perhaps might believe, and the fear of the unknown, I learned that online is a scam, I'm going to lose money and all of that. So I just have to tell you how to start somewhere, and that's the truth. Okay, so that's what it is, and the same thing. So there's a positive correlation, all right, positive correlations between the Euro USD and then the GBP USD. Okay, so between the USD, Euro USD, and the GBP USD. And I think one of the issue here is this. We got a kind of daily range for this guy for GBP USD, right? So which we have to look at. Let's go here. Yeah, over here. And then if that's the case, we have a continuation type 1 pattern. And so you just want to have the DXY just push a little down, like I said, and start running up. And then you see that both Euro USD and then GBP USD will continue rocking down. All right. So, but we have to see the dimension at which the DXY, but of course, fundamental factors with a macro information have a lot of effect and have a lot of stake to determine, how trending the dollar index going to go as much as possible. All right, before I quickly go into the gold, the final thing, those of you who we've been trading stock, buying and holding some stock, let's see how now, like I told you, when you see some stock moves diving this season, I've told us the fundamental factor. I don't know how many of you participated on the FCMB, the public offer, and then last week that didn't close. Oh no, this month, yeah, I didn't close on the 6th of this month. So I sent the applications or to download the FCMB application, register, and then ask. That doesn't mean you couldn't buy on our conventional broker that we use, like Mary's Trade, Optimus, and then Bambus and all the like that we've always said. So please, if you are listening to me, and probably you are not on our forum, at least it's expedient to join because some of those vital information are sent there. So I'm sure we bought this public offer at 10 naira per share. And now I think afterward, that was on the 6th. Let's quickly look at it on the 6th. So that means somewhere here. So we bought at 10 naira per share. And then, of course, who knows? A share that's still below 10 naira, average of 10 naira, then you can be projecting about 30 naira eventually if all things really equal. So, but all things will never be equal because there are other things, external variables you don't put into consideration when all of this are happening. So I just have to bring out. So this was one of the stock that the follow bought, Okomo Oil, but I think most of them right now a bit flashed down to an extent. Okomo, sorry, probably not very important. A kind of strategic saving first is out of flying. As far as it has to do with business, it possesses a certain level of risk. And that's why you learn some permutation on how to deal, to reduce your risk exposure and be able to manage and maximize profit. One of the things I've seen in this industry for many years, when the market is pushing up, people are excited and they do nothing. And little do we know that the darkness of time. Now, so this is the point. The markets will react based on macro fundamentals, and of course, the chart will show you the path, and probably forecasting that low probability of where the market's going to go. So we buy into stock like that to leverage, make money on dividend. There are so many dividend that was entering for me since last week or since last month, October, yeah, the entering and all of that. So at the point, that is one of the biggest aspects where we tell people you can make a lot of passive income without lifting fingers. All right. So that's that about stock. So let's quickly go to gold analysis. So gold, I told us last week, if you're my student, you will know what happened here on gold and what were around the massive selling of gold here. Now, this waiting has not occurred. I only took a little trade on it that last week, but you can still see that this is still been at continuation. Okay, so then eventually this is going to be a kind of demand zone over time. So gold, I probably wouldn't have too much time to do a detailed analysis of what to expect this week, but I will expect it a kind of this awaiting. Then when we bounce from there, we will be buying up of gold. All right. So, but you need to know that while you are waiting on a wider spread of gold in a lower time frame, you can have good space to pick an entry and take a profit along the line. So, but you can see gold has lost the momentum that it started with, and so continue to have some sideways move and a drop down, a drop up, and all that. That's what you can play around right now, gold, because some are waiting for gold to break above this high and then continue to move money, or break below this low and continue to crash as much as possible. All right. Probably I may not be able to give us any coin. I have some list of tokens, but of course, like we said, we have to understand that Bitcoin is not done yet. And so as long as Bitcoin is not done yet, then every other coin is an instrument. We have to observe. If it's not done, then we have to follow suit. Okay. So you take few hidden or known tokens to just move because of community agreement, and then they move and drop again. Okay. Okay, so these are the major things that I actually want to show to us. Now, so when we talk about investing, we talk about investing, buy and hold of coins, investing, buy stocks, investing, all right? We even have the money market fixed, right, to make some profit. But the question you ask yourself is that to what extent, how much money did you have, to keep and then be able to make so much money on it? So it's on that note you want to appreciate yourself being guided and trade the market by yourself. Okay, not over disturbing, but being able to follow information and act so that you can make some money. All right, so we started something very powerful, and it's going to be massive over time, and probably even this year we'll do like a kind of a mini launch, as it were, which we have been hearing talked about Plan B Express cash flow solution. So I put together about 10 things that you have access to in it. One of it is stock recommendation. One of it is, of course, free signals. One of it is basic, routine knowledge, so that to be, we tell that any strategy you want to use and then cannot be mastered to be that can repeat again and repeat again, then doesn't really make any sense. Okay, so we have different stuff, scanners, platforms that you can leverage on uh, with the Plan B Express cash flow solution. And then remember, we said it's about investing, active, um, active trading, and then residual income through affiliate rebate system. You do not need to like anyone face, it's just for you to have solution to the problem the fellow is having, right? And so we look at it that people can be part of the system, make money, right, and build up themselves. I've seen a lot of people in the space in crypto, in forex. At a point, you see as if they're doing well. At a point, it's like they're feeding from hand to mouth. You ask yourself, what happened to the money made that time? Because there was no diversification. Okay, so when you're interested in joining the platform, then of course, after now, you can chat up with some of our me, all right, and they'll put you part on how to get started, and that's going to be very amazing. All right. So of course, we have some connections with some platforms that are going to help you to maximize money. I know many friends will have seen it when I posted about 12 amplified accounts, and then because of a broker that you can dimensionally work on, and more or less like a prop firm, but with instant withdrawal and all the like. So I've done a video, couple of video on our group. I think it's expedient. We go there, watch them. They're not too long, right? To see, how amazing some of those things we're sharing for people to participate are. Okay. And so, and there are informations, vital information you wouldn't have access to except you become part of the community and all of that. And that's going to help a lot. And so many, I got a lot of testimonies from some persons I directed 3 days ago on some of those platforms. All right. So you want to sit down and look at it, build wealth, assembling, and then find way to diversify, disbursement, kind of pushing money. People actually thought money when some businesses or some asset class crashes, we probably may not be able to figure out what happened, right? So because investors are not loyal to you, investors are loyal to their fund. And so I'm free to move my money out of this stock and push into another stock. And that's another skill in the stock market. Okay. So I think that's just the basics we want to show. So for those of you who have activated your account on the TGM, of course, there's a there's a group that you're going to be added to get some vital information, while we're expanding more ideology on how it to be run. So you can inbox me and then you can be added to the group. That is if you have paid for the subscriptions, right? Subscriptions for yearly subscription for Plan B Express Global Cash Flow Solution Club is just 115 a year. You have access to numerous things, and so you'll be able to do. I've discovered one thing that I have told people. I said, we're wired not to appreciate free things. Okay, we're wired not to appreciate free things, but that's unfortunate for us because there are so many things that in this digital space, if you're not guided, hold by head by your hands, you make a lot of mistakes. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, so we're looking at Bitcoin. So If this one will hold, then we should be buying Bitcoin when the new market open. If it wouldn't hold, of course, we should be traveling down to where we expected. And so for me, I have to have this confirmation. And when I see that, right, probably confirmation for a reversal, when I see a proper order like that, then that's cool. I'll have to stand and see what I can do, either to buy and then again look at up here to get stopped. But if I'm not going to measure one ratio to risk reward, right, I wouldn't take such trade because eventually can induce you return back here and then we'll sell down. So I should be targeting how to sell, when to sell now, probably back here and then so like I said, the market bounce here. If you do that, then you want to find a buy, but a sell is predominantly the answer for now, and then that means you'll be stacking more into your position as much as possible. All right. So education or training about trading now, forex and all that, they are freely available. You register on platforms, and then you can just learn things on your own independently. But one of the greatest enemy for success in trading is inconsistency. Not having timing that can be repeated over and again. It's a very, very, very serious problem. All right. So, okay, I quickly want to show something. So what I have to do, tell some of us to be on the cash flow solution. So when I review some stock, then I could drop on the general forum and people can leverage on that. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is so far tonight. We're going to go in explaining to us. And now, those of you who are on my Forex Inner group, remember our Asian hunting start again tonight or today. So anything from 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So you on live, you connect, and then we can move ahead, as it were. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'll be drawing the curtain from here. So do the needful, and let's see how we can maximize opportunity in this space. This space is fantastic, but we need to work on ourselves, taking personal responsibility in order to maximize opportunity in the digital space. Right?